predecessor, Ron Paul, was very vocal about a return to a gold standard. What are your thoughts on that?
I would love to have commodity-based currency, so I would support legislation to have competing currency. Obviously, it's very complicated, but I'd like to have a segment of my assets in a commodity-based currency, but by complicated. You've got a basket of commodities, you've got a credit card, you're going to pay for gas. There's also a commodity that's moving second by second in the marketplace. Leave it to the private sector. That is legislation, though, that could get passed, and we could have competing currency.
All right. Let's talk about your national sales tax plan. What do you say to opponents who say, well, you can't have the same sales tax that you have in New York, for example, compared to Louisiana?
Well, I don't want to so much defend. Here's what you can count on with a Johnson presidency, is as president, whatever comes out of Congress that's going to simplify taxes, whatever comes out of Congress that's going to lower taxes, I'm going to support. I'm not getting elected king, I'm not getting elected dictator, but if I could wave a magic wand, I would eliminate income tax, I would eliminate corporate tax, I would abolish the IRS, and I would replace all of it with a single consumption tax, national consumption tax. I ask people to look at the fair tax as a template for how you would dot the I's and cross the T's regarding how to accomplish one federal consumption tax. In that context, I'm not wedded to the details of the fair tax, but I can certainly point out what those details are.
I think one thing many voters find refreshing about you, Governor Johnson, is that you haven't taken part in the smear campaign that we've seen with Trump and Clinton.
And we're not either.
But what happens if you do hit that debate stage? Do you think that it's inevitable that you have to go down that road?
I don't. I did run for governor and won twice. Didn't mention my opponent ever. But debate is a whole nother topic, so issues are definitely on the table. But I think people are hungry to vote for somebody as opposed to the lesser of two evils and wasting your vote. Look, if you want to waste your vote on Hillary or Trump, I mean, have at it.
All right.
Vote your conscience. That is not a wasted vote.
Let's talk about the recent events, unfortunate events we saw again in France last night. Let's talk about security abroad. How do you tackle what's going on in Europe and America's relations here?
Well, I think that it would be incredibly what's the word? That's some presumptive that we would be able to suggest how France needs to deal with these issues, or any country where these atrocities are occurring. You have to have had the same thoughts that I've had regarding a truck going into a crowd. This is something that could happen in 10,000 locations in the United States every single day. I do want to understand, what the circumstances are behind this. I mean, is this an individual who had mental health issues? Is this a terrorist act? And in that context, what might we be able to do in the future? But when you have somebody who's willing to give their life to create an atrocity like this, you know what? Most politicians would say, "Here's the answer," when the reality is look, this needs to be awareness, and let's get plugged into.
Well, I think, if we look at the rise of Trump, I think many voters feel that he's going to protect America from terrorism entering the country.
Right. And
right. So how do we stop terrorism from coming into America?
Well, give me one example of terrorism that has, of course, 9/11 was certainly that situation, but give me an example outside of 9/11 where this has been an action on U.S. soil that has been caused by somebody coming into the country.
Or homegrown terrorism.
Well, homegrown terrorism. How do you tackle homegrown terrorism? Well, we shouldn't keep our eyes closed. Bill Weld has proposed a 1,000-person task force to actually take tips, if you will. let's not forget that the shooter in Florida had talked to the FBI 3 times. As President of the United States, I would love to know what transpired in those conversations, and I would love to hear what the FBI has with regards suggestions on how we move forward, given the fact that they talked to him 3 times.
Governor Johnson, thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by, and I wish you best of luck with your campaign. A great conversation with you today. It was a pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for watching our coverage. We'll have more for you on Kitco News, so be sure to stay tuned to kitco.com. Thanks for watching.